For today's lesson, we will be discussing solving problems involving quadratic equations and rational algebraic equations. Our objective is, at the end of this video, you should be able to solve problems involving quadratic equations and rational algebraic equations. But before we proceed to our lesson, let's first have a short review. So we have 5 questions. For number 1, what is the standard form of a quadratic equation? Is it A, ax squared plus bx minus c equals 0? B, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. You have 10 seconds. The answer is letter B. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Number 2, what is the quadratic formula? A, x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, or B, x is equal to b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The answer is A, x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Next, what is the factored form of x squared minus 5x plus 6? A, x minus 3 times x minus 2, or B, x plus 3 times x plus 2. The answer is letter A, x minus 3 multiplied by x minus 2. Number 4, what should be added to x squared plus 8x to make it a perfect square trinomial? Is it A, 64, or B, 16? The answer is 16. And last number, what are the solutions of x squared plus 4x minus 12 is equal to 0? Is it A, x is equal to negative 2 and x is equal to 6? Or B, x is equal to negative 6 and x is equal to 2? The answer is letter B. X is equal to negative 6 and x is equal to 2. If you don't have any questions or you got all the correct answers, we may now proceed to our lesson. We could apply the concept of quadratic equations in many real-life situations. Some of the problems occur from the various equations, such as those involving area, work, profits, and many others, can be solved by applying the different mathematical concepts and principles previously studied, including quadratic equation and the different ways of solving them. We can follow the steps given below to solve word problems on quadratic equations. 1. Use a variable to represent the unknown quantity. 2. Write an equation from the given information and write it in standard form. Again, the standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Solve the quadratic equation obtained using one of the methods such as factoring, completing the square, or by using the quadratic formula. And last, relate the solution obtained from one of the methods to the statement asked in the question. So let's have example number 1. The sum of two numbers is 13 and their product is 36. Find the numbers. Again, the sum of two numbers is 13 and their product is 36. Find the numbers. So for our solution, the first step is we need to represent the unknown quantity. So based on the problem, we have two numbers involved. So for us to represent the unknown quantity, go back to the problem and look for a clue. So the phrase, sum of two numbers is 13, would lead us to this representation. Let x be the first number and 13 minus x be the second number. We could get the second number by subtracting the first number from the sum, which is 13. After that is, we're going to write an equation. Go back again to the problem and look for a clue. So we have here the phrase, product is 36. So the product of these two numbers is 36. So by multiplying x and 13 minus x, the result will be 36. So x multiplied by the quantity of 13 minus x is equal to 36. And then we need to write it in standard form. So apply the distributive property will give us 13x minus x squared equals 36. So x times 13 is 13x, x times negative x is negative x squared, and then copy equals 36. And then write it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So transpose 13x minus x squared to the right side of the equation. So it will become x squared, from negative x squared it will become positive x squared. Positive 13x will become negative 13x, and then just copy positive 36. Or x squared minus 13x plus 36 is equal to 0. After that, we could now solve for the value of x. We will be using factoring. You could use completing the square or quadratic formula. So when we factor, x squared minus 13x plus 36 will become the quantity of x minus 9 multiplied by the quantity of x minus 4. And then, use the principle of zero products. So x minus 9 is equal to 0 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. And then we're now computing for the value of x by transposing negative 9 and negative 4. So it will become x is equal to 9 or x is equal to 4. Then after that, relate the solution obtained to the statement asked in the question. We need to find the two numbers. Based on the first step, the first number is x and the second number is 13 minus x. So if we're going to use the first value of x, which is 9, the second number is 13 minus 9, which is 4. Therefore, the numbers are 9 and 4. The same with if we're going to use the value of x as 4. 13 minus 4 will be 9. So we could get the same answer, 9 and 4. So the two numbers are 9 and 4. 9 plus 4 is 13. 9 times 4 is 36. Example number 2. Valenzuela City government wants to place a new rectangular tarpaulin to inform everyone about General Community Quarantine or GCQ protocols. Suppose the length of the tarpaulin to be placed is 4 meters longer than its width and the area is 96 square meters. What will be the length and the width of the tarpaulin? So again, we need to represent the unknown quantity. So the unknown quantity here are the length and the width. So look for a clue. The length of the tarpaulin to be placed is 4 meters longer than its width. So the length depends on the length of the width. It is 4 meters longer. So if we're going to let x meters be the width, then the length will be x plus 4 meters. Then for us to write an equation, in the given problem, area is given. The measurement is 96 square meters. Since the given is area, you must know the formula for the area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is the product of its length and width. In simple, length times width is equal to area, or A is equal to LW. Using this formula and the representation above, the equation will be x times the quantity of x plus 4 equals 96. And write it in standard form. It will become x squared plus 4x equals 96. Apply the distributive property and then transpose positive 96. It will become x squared plus 4x minus 96 equals 0. We can now solve the quadratic equation. So again, we will be using factoring. The factored form of x squared plus 4x minus 96 is the quantity of x plus 12 times the quantity of x minus 8. Then of course, copy equals 0. And then use the principle of zero products. X plus 12 is equal to 0 or x minus 8 is equal to 0. Transpose positive 12 and negative 8. X is equal to negative 12 or x is equal to 8. So we have two solutions. The equation has two solutions. X is equal to 8 or x is equal to negative 12. However, we only consider the positive value of x since the situation involves measure of length. Hence, the width of the billboard is 8 meters and its length is 12 meters. How do we get 12 meters? Again, the length is 4 meters longer than its width. So 8 plus 4 will give us 12. Next, example number 3. An office has two envelope stuffing machines. Working together, they can stuff a batch of envelopes in 4 hours. Working separately, it will take the second machine 6 hours longer than the first machine to stuff a batch of envelopes. How long will it take each machine to stuff a batch of envelopes by themselves? So according to the problem, the second machine takes 6 hours longer than the first machine. So the operation here is addition since we have longer than. So let x be the amount of time it takes the first machine. So let us name the first machine as machine A to stuff a batch of envelopes by itself. That means that it will take the second machine or machine B x plus 6 hours to stuff a batch of envelopes by itself. So in this example, it is different from the first two examples. The problem here is a work problem. The word equation for this problem is then work rate of machine A plus work rate of machine B is equal to the work rate of both machines. So when we add the work rate of each machine separately, it is equal to the work rate when they work together. We know that the time spent working together is 4 hours. So we need to know the work rates of each machine. So for us to know the work rate of each machine, just follow this formula. Work rate of each machine is equal to the work over R. Since they have the same work, we're going to have 1 as the value of the work. So for the work rate of machine A, we have 1 over X. X is the time machine A stuff a batch of envelopes. While the work rate of machine B is 1 over X plus C. And when they work together, will become 1 over 4. And then plugging it into the word equation, in this equation, work rate of machine A plus work rate of machine B equals work rate of both machines. So here are the work rate of each machines and work rate of both machines. So we have 1 over X plus 1 over X plus 6 is equal to 1/4. So as you can see, it is a rational algebraic equation that is transformable into quadratic equation. So we have to multiply it by the LCD. So the LCD is 4x multiplied by the quantity of x plus 6. So both sides. The result will be 4 times x plus 6 plus 4x is equal to x squared plus 6x. Because as you can see, we could cancel x here and what will remain will be 4 and x plus 6. And in this one, cancel x plus 6 and what will remain will be 4x. On the other side of the equation, cancel 4. So what will remain will be x. So x times x is x squared and x times 6 is 6x. And then apply the distributive property. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 6 is 24. Copy plus 4x equals x squared plus 6x. And then we need to combine like terms. 4x plus 4x is 8x. Copy 24 equals x squared plus 6x. Write it in standard form. So all you have to do is to transpose 8x plus 24. So it will become x squared plus 6x minus 8x minus 24 equals 0. And then combine 6x minus 8x. X squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. After writing it in standard form or in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, we could now solve the value of x. So again, by factoring. Factored form is x minus 6 times x plus 4. Using the principle of zero products, x minus 6 is equal to 0 or x plus 4 is equal to 0. Transpose negative 6, the answer is x is equal to 6. Transpose positive 4, so the answer is x equals negative 4. The equation has two solutions. X is equal to 6 or x equals negative 4. However, we only consider the positive value of x since the situation involves measure of time. Hence, machine A took 6 hours and machine B took 12 hours to stuff a batch of envelopes by themselves. So how do we get 12 hours? So again, machine B took 6 hours longer. So if machine A took 6 hours, just add another 6 hours. So the result is 12 hours. Now, let's proceed to our generalization. So, let's wrap it up. Important ideas about quadratic equations are used in solving real-life problems. You could use the following steps in solving problems involving quadratic equations and rational algebraic equation. Transformable to quadratic equation. Number 1. Use a variable to represent the unknown quantity. Most of the time, we are using x, but you could use also other variable aside from x. Number 2. Write an equation from the given information and write it in standard form. Again, the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. 3. Solve the quadratic equation obtained using one of the methods previously discussed. So what are these methods? We have factoring, completing the square, or by using the quadratic formula. And lastly, relate the solution obtained from one of the methods to the statement asked in the question. And remember, some quadratic equations have negative solution. We only consider the positive solution when the situation involves time and length. So when you reach this part of the video, you could now answer flex your brain part. And after this, you could also answer the reflection part of your self-learning material.